but obviously Paddington never changes. Everybody else around him changes.
Paddington in Peru is the most adventurous film in the series so far. And as a director of music videos, you obviously have a feel for dynamic shots. Was it easy to not lose sight of the British coziness of it all?
Oh, thank you. That's a good question. Yes, so it was very difficult to stay sort of objective about what we were creating, because when you get so involved in a elaborate action set piece, something very physical, you have to also remember that there's the subtext of the story to be to remember. So yes, it was, and also we're not in London in this film for a large portion of the film, although we start and end in London. So yeah, that was always something that was at the back of my mind, thinking, what are people going to feel about this, and is it going to have the same qualities that people like of the film set in London? And we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of what people liked about the first two films, which are incredibly difficult acts to follow.
Okay. Now, in the Paddington books, time stands still for the most part, but here Judy and Jonathan have aged a lot. So, do you think in future Paddington movies they could age even more, and Paddington too? So we just break away from the source material?
That's a that's a hard one, and actually, you know, nobody else has asked us that. It's interesting. Of course, in this film, we do see Jonathan and Judy more grown up, and we've entered that moment in the family where, you know, Judy might be going to university, and Jonathan's become a teenager, and the dynamic of the family is changing, and we've built that into the story of our film with Mary worrying, having incipient empty nest syndrome. But for the moment, you know, we've focused on creating our trilogy, if you like, of Paddington coming full circle, visiting the country where he came from in the first film, and we can't look ahead to what happens next. But obviously, Paddington never changes. Everybody else around him changes, and yes, you're right. Alas, our actors will always grow up, and we'll have to see what happens next.
Now, Paul King, the director of the first Paddington movies, recently directed Wonka, and you were also involved as a producer. Do you think Paddington would be a good addition to the chocolate factory?
What a wonderful idea, Paddington going into a chocolate factory and seeing what mishaps and comic misadventures follow from that.
I'm sure it will all go smoothly.
But very, very different universes. But there is that darker edge to Wonka, which I hope Paddington will never have.
Oh, sure. Now, Paddington, the movies have their own style, and this new movie sometimes reminded me of Indiana Jones. Were there other family movies or adventure movies you used as an inspiration for this one?
Sure. I looked at a lot of movies set in these kind of environments. I also read a lot of Hergé and Tintin, just to have that classic adventure storytelling inspiration. Some of the other movies, though, that we reference might not be the ones you'd think are typically family movies, because Paddington does have a heritage of referring to classic cinema. So I don't know if you spotted, there's a reference to Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo in this film, when Hunter Cabot, played by Antonio, first makes an appearance, listening to a gramophone drifting down the Amazon. And we also have a subtler reference to Aguirre, Wrath of God, because by the same director, because we shot in the same area of the Andes. In fact, one of the same mountain faces that opens that film. But then there are slightly more broader movie references as well, obviously, as the adventure ones. We are quite inspired by scenes from The Sound of Music as well, because Olivia has a musical moment, and it's set in an environment with lots of nuns and mountains.
Okay, thanks. That's my time, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Die Browns kommen nach Peru.
Macht euch bereit!
Tante Lucy.
Ich fürchte, sie ist zu einer Art Mission aufgebrochen. Tief in den Dschungel. Wir haben keine Ahnung, wo sie ist.
Naja, wir wollten ja einen unvergesslichen Urlaub.
Willkommen in Peru.